2018 Cadillac XT5 with a 3.6. Gonna do a thermostat and coolant temp sensor. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Underneath the hood, I got some fender covers on there. So what I'm gonna do is get me a blowgun, air, compressed air, blow off all the dirt. Get the idea? Blow it off really good first. Then you can go ahead and take your air cleaner assembly off. Disconnect your mass airflow. Disconnect your tube, throttle body, the clamp there. Loosen this clamp up. Push this little clip up. Then you can pull that off. Remove your 10 right here. It's got a couple of those fasteners on the sides. Pull them up, and you can pull this piece up. And get this out of the way. These are held in with Phillips heads, screws. And you got your lock there. You got to push your lock up so you can push it down and pull it off. All right, I got mine blowed off. What I do now is I spray some simple green around a little bit, and then I'll blow it off when I blow it off. Makes it look a little bit better. And then I got my bolt undone there, got my clamp undone there, pulled this off, pull my breather off right here, mass airflow, got my screws. Careful you don't drop them. I take them all the way out because they 50% of the time they stay, 50% of the time they come off. So make sure you don't drop them because they're hard to find. Make sure this is loose. Got that 10 off. Pick this up. Get them out of a grommet there and a grommet here. So it's basically this whole thing is loose. So I can go ahead and pull it as a unit. Comes up out of there a little tough, but it's all one unit. Okay, take your air filter out. Then you want to vacuum it out the box or blow it. If you're going to blow it, tape up your throttle body so you don't blow no dirt in there. I know it's got a throttle valve in there, but just to be on the safe side. Now you can change your filter or tap it on the counter, knock the dirt out of it. All right, next we need to do is remove this upper intake assembly. It's got a couple connectors on it and a couple hoses. All right, you gotta undo this one, this hose off there. You gotta push the little thing down, then you gotta undo this little clip so you can get the hose off of there. It's just got a little push thing there. You can flip it over. Then you got your 13s going down, around. Got a connector there. Fastens right here. And that's it. All right, so we'll get started on that. Okay, remove your locks, push the tabs in on both of them. Push the thing down, remove it, push that up, flip it over, get that out of the way. Push it underneath something. You got your 13 millimeter head bolts. Okay, then you got 2 more 10s. Come back over here on this coolant line. Okay, remove those 2. Got your connector right here for your throttle body. And also where it fastens, same thing for this one, fastens right there. Then also you got another 10 right here going to the intake, keeping it down because right now it's loose, but it's not coming off, and it is right there, okay? So you gotta remove that 10 also. All right, I pulled my dipstick out so I don't break it, and remove that 10. Now the whole assembly is loose, and I can go ahead and pull it up. Okay, I pulled the intake assembly up, and gotta watch out because it gets a lot of dirt up in here and it'll fall down inside these. This one's got some dirt in it. Let me show you. Look at the dirt. fell in there when I took this thing off. So get yourself a vacuum, vacuum it up, get that dirt out of there. Okay, I used the vacuum. One side of the hose goes in there and plug up the other side. Okay, as you do it. Alright? And once you got it all cleaned up, blow it out, make sure you re-vacuum it, make sure you didn't no dirt in nowhere. Alright? Next you want to do is wipe off your throttle plates. Put some brake clean on a rag and wipe them off. Hopefully the dirt will stick to your rag because it's wet. Alright? Do not go ahead and saturate the ports with brake clean. Possibility of fouling out your spark plugs, and you don't want to do that because you won't find that out until you start it. Alright, what we're after is right here, this housing right there. It's also connected to a tube, and the tube goes all the way over there, but we're not going to replace the tube. We're going to replace the thermostat housing assembly right here. Alright, so I'm going to remove this extra breather pipe off of both valve cover sides. Get this out of the way. Alright. Now as we got is this wire harness for the temp sensor. Alright. It's got a couple tens down in there we got to get off. And then we can lift that thing up and pull it off the tube. Make sure you don't pull the tube out from that side, just only this side, okay? So hold on. Alright. So this is for me. I'll do is I'll take some brake clean, I'll spray it around the thermostat housing a little bit. Help blow out some of the dirt around it. And then I'll get me some penetrant spray. And I'll spray that around it, so hopefully it soaks into the O-ring a little bit. And it'll help allow me to remove the thermostat housing from the tube, okay? All right. Next thing you need to do is remove your cap. Make sure you relieve the pressure that's in there. Thing was loose. Okay. Next, you got this pipe right here that goes into the head. It's got an O-ring on it. So you need to remove this 10 so you can pull up this pipe. All right, and I think it's got one of those little plastic guides inside of it so don't lose it. All right, so now you can wiggle this thing back and forth. What you can do is spray some penetrant in there and also help soak into that O-ring to help remove it. You just gotta look and see where it goes into at right here. So we'll spray some penetrant down on that also. Right there, okay? And then we'll wiggle that line and we'll pull it up. And I didn't drain the coolant, so I'm gonna get probably a decent amount of coolant coming out of there. So I got me a pan underneath. What that coolant's gonna do is drain down from the front a little bit and it'll go to the back. But that's fine. I'll rinse it all out with some washer solvent and some water. All right, I got that one out. See how it's coming out? There's also one over here also, so you gotta remove the 10 for this one right here. Goes on that. So spray some penetrant in there, and then also go ahead and remove that one. What I'll use is, I'll wiggle it back and forth, and I'll put my door panel tool in there to help pick it up, okay? Just make sure you wiggle it back and forth when you're pulling it up. Try to pull it straight. Okay, I got them both out. The O-rings look pretty decent. I've done this before. I've reused these O-rings. If you don't damage them when you remove them and you put penetrant on them, it should be okay. Okay, so just go ahead, set it down on the side. And now we have access to our bolts on our thermostat housing. All right, this is what the thermostat looks like. Sticks down in there pretty far, so you can't push it this way. You can't go like that with it. It's tight fit. So what you need to do is take your tube and move it that way. In order to move it that way, you have to take out the little 10mm head bolt that's underneath it. So if you stick your hand underneath here, you'll feel it. But there's also another pipe coming off for the heater hose right above it, and you think that's it, but that's not it. It's a little bit down farther. So when you get yourself a mirror and a light, shine it down in there. Let's see. Okay. See, there's the pipe, and there's the bolt. All right? Pipe, bolt. So you need to come straight across there with a straight socket and an extension. Get on it and loosen it up. Hopefully it's a long bolt that you can leave it in there, but probably not. So we'll find out. All right there. Not that one, that one. All right, this is what I use. I use a 10 long and about a 2.5-inch extension with my 1/4-inch ratchet. Broke it loose, unthreaded it with my fingers, and here's the bolt. So now I can slide that whole tube this way. I put a pry bar in there to hold it. And there it is. So now I can go ahead and remove my 2 bolts from my thermostat. And hopefully I can just kind of wiggle it out of there. All right, I got my pry bar in there, and I pry bar this way, push the tube that way, put a bungee cord on it to keep it pushed over that direction as much as possible. Got my long needle nose pliers, went inside the hole and wiggle it up and out of there. There it is. Okay, so what you want to do is you can replace that O-ring with the new tube O-ring, and then you can go ahead and replace that sensor. You have to get the lock out of there, and then disconnect the connector, and then we'll remove the sensor. Got me a long flat blade screwdriver, picked up on my lock, picked up the lock, and then as I pushed in on the tab, you know, with my screwdriver right above the lock, when the lock is pushed up, I got me a pick, my other hand, went underneath the connector and pulled it up. Okay, so now that's disconnected. Make sure you clean that out with some brake clean and put some Sil Glide on it, or some, what do you call it, electro grease. All right, so now all you gotta do is get some sockets on that baby and remove it. So if you're gonna replace it, go get your new one and double check the size on it. It's a 15mm. I got a cheap Harbor Freight old 15mm shorty wrench on there, and then I pushed it with my screwdriver and broke it loose. Okay, and it's as far as it can go. So I might be able to just get down in there with a flat blade and turn it. Who knows? Stick it inside there and turn it. Just like this. See if it's loose enough. Yeah, it's loose enough. Yeah, loose enough to turn it. Might be able to do that. Get a little bit better of a screwdriver, see if it works. All right, I got a little bit better of a screwdriver. It's actually tuning a lot better now. Okay, I'll turn it all the way and I'll get it out, and then I'll show you how to get it started. Okay, I removed my ring, O-ring, from my new one with a little flat blade pocket screwdriver, and then removed my old one and put the new one on there. Got my new sensor with my washer on it and some pipe dope. So I'm gonna place it down in there with my needle nose pliers, and then I'll get it started. I use my left middle finger, get down in there on one side, got my long little skinny screwdriver in there, and I turned it. We both turned it with this and pushed it with my middle finger. Got it started, then I got my bigger screwdriver inside the connector, and I turned it carefully till it stopped. So now all I can do is get my wrench down in there and tighten it up with that. I got a 1/4 inch 15 shallow down in there. Put the socket on there first, and then I used a swivel 1/4 inch extension with my 1/4 inch ratchet with another extension, and I tightened it up. So now I can go ahead and remove it, and now I have to plug it in. Kind of blows that the connector part is facing the other direction. Oh well. Alright, I cleaned my connector, and then I put some dielectric grease in the terminals just a little bit. Plugged it in. I didn't push down the lock because you never know, it might go bad. So next you gotta do is spray some lube on your O-ring. Put some Sil Glide inside there where the thermostat is. Maybe put a little bit on the O-ring right here. Then you can drop it down in there. Get it lined up. Get your bolts started. Snug them up. And you want to torque them to what? 90 inch-pounds, 110 inch-pounds. And then you can go ahead and push your coolant tube inside the thermostat housing, and then put your bolt back on the other end. I took my bolts out of the thermostat housing, lowered it down in there, come over here off to the side and look, because there's like a little notch. Make sure you turn that housing so that notch lines up on the housing. Then you can drop it down. You might have to push your coolant tube a little bit more that way. And now it's in there. Now I can put my bolts in. Remember, they got the little spacers inside the holes, little plastic ones. So now you can get your bolts in there and get them started, and then snug them up. Then you want to torque them. I got the bolts torqued. The spec is 89 inch-pounds, but I'm using a 1/4 inch ratchet, and I tighten them up a little bit more than that. Probably like 120, 150 inch-pounds, but the spec is 89 inch-pounds. So now what you gotta do is remove your pry bar, get your hand down there and wiggle that pipe and push it inside there. And then get your bolt hole lined up and put your bolt in there. Got my bolt in my socket. Put a little painter's tape on it. Now I can go in there and line it up. I got it lined up. I looked at it with my mirror. So now all I'm gonna do is get that up in there, get it started with my fingers, run it in there, and get my ratchet down in there and snug her up. The only bad part about that bolt is that it's not a straight shot. It's kind of at an angle to get to it. And what I did was I put it in the hole, and I got it kind of started a little bit, finger tight. Took my socket off there. Got me a nut driver with a swivel. Got lucky to get up in there. Got it on it. Kind of wiggled around a little bit, and then threaded her in, and then snugged her up. That one just has to be wrist tight, a good wrist tight. All right, so now your tube's in, thermostat's in. Now all you gotta do is put your 2 little pipes back in, put some lube on your O-rings, put them back in there, put your bolts on there, snug them up, and then we'll go ahead and proceed from there. One thing I should tell you is to put some tape or some rags inside your ports after you cleaned them out, and I forgot to tell you that. My bad. Okay? Just make sure you do that. All right, so got my lines on, Now the next thing you need to do is go ahead and pour some washer solvent down in there to wash that coolant out of there. I pour probably about maybe 2 quarts to half a gallon down in there to wash it out. Okay. So now what you need to do is make sure your surfaces are clean. Go ahead and get your intake. Put the new gaskets in the intake. And don't forget your little, this little thing. These are the one things that I always forget. So don't forget to put that in there. Make sure you put it in the right direction. Okay, goes like that. All right, so get some brake clean on a rag, wipe them off a little bit. Clean them up. I'll use one of these to clean them up just a little bit. I just rub it across there a little bit. This is for doing around the studs on the hubs. Works pretty nice on there. Okay. And just go ahead and blow them out again. Make sure there's no dirt in there. Pulled out all the old ones. Put in the new ones. Make sure you put the little divots for the injectors, if they're in there properly. Make sure you push them in a couple times, go all the way around a couple times, because they work themselves out as you work as you're pushing them in. Okay, so now I got them in. Now I'm gonna spray just a little bit of lube on them. That's to help center them on the heads, just so they don't roll or get scratched. I sprayed a little bit of lube on the heads. So now I can go ahead and lower down my intake on there. And then get my bolts, for intake bolts started. And then eventually just work my way around, crisp pattern, snugging them up. You have the intake bolts, tighten them up in a crisscross pattern, snug them up first, and go ahead and you want to torque them to 18 foot-pounds is your final torque on them. Okay? 18 foot-pounds, and there's 8 of them. Once you got those torqued, make sure you snug this one up by your dipstick. Then you can go ahead and put your connectors back on there and your evap tube. And don't forget about this one here, goes in the front also. Now we're ready for our air intake tubes and filter assembly. So go ahead and put your new filter in there or your cleaned one. Put a little bit of lube on your throttle body. Put a little lube on that big old thingy right there for the PCV. Now on the upper cover, you got these. Put some lube in those little grommets. Okay? And then you can go ahead and set it all down on there and get that lined up. Push that on there, and then you can push that upper cover down on top. And then you can put your bolt in over here and put your little screws in on your air filter assembly. Don't forget to tighten your hose clamp and that clamp. Okay, trying to use this vacuum thing for refilling cooling systems. This is how you have it hooked up. Like this. Find the right cap that fits. Find this blue one that fits. I'm holding the vacuum. So far I got 55 pounds of vacuum on it. That's about as far as I can go with it. So then when you got enough vacuum on it, make sure you got your hose in your coolant. Not getting any more vacuum on it, so I guess I'm good. So what I need to do now is turn off my air, creating my vacuum. And then I can go ahead and disconnect my air hose. I'm not losing any pressure. If you're losing pressure right away, then it's not a good seal. So now I'll open this up. should suck some coolant into the cooling system in my jug. Still going. Can hear it. Hear it? And I still got a good 5 pounds negative pressure. Just make sure you don't suck all the coolant out of your jug. So far so good. We'll see how good this works. It was impossible finding the correct cap. There's my box of caps over there in the blue container. So I'll mark this one if it's a GM. So far doing pretty good. It's almost, it's about right here. It's slowing down a lot. I think that's it. So hopefully I should be able to just start it up and top it off, and hopefully it removed any air pockets in the system. Hopefully. We'll see. Here's my radiator pressure system refiller kit I bought. Comes with various size caps, and it's got the cone one, it's got a temperature sensor, it's got the old styles on there, and here's your one for pressure testing. Right here's your pump. All you do is find the right cap that fits your vehicle, and you can connect that on there with a quick connect. All right, and the hardest part is finding the right one to fit your vehicle. Okay, here we are now. I put my old traditional funnel on there, topped it off, and now we're gonna start it up and see how good that vacuum coolant refiller works. It's been a good 15 minutes. And I have heat inside the vehicle, and it's in the middle of the gauge, and I don't see any problems with it yet. So I'll let it get more hotter, if it's gonna get hotter, and we'll see. All right, so far so good. Been another 20 minutes. No change in anything. Got good heat. It's not overheating, not boiling over, not bubbling, nothing. So I think I can go ahead and remove my funnel. I'll do is I'll squeeze it in my hose, push as much up in there, put my plug in it and remove it. Then I'll remove my thread-on filler cap, and then I'll put my regular radiator cap back on, and I'll drive it and see how that is. So other than that, this is it. This is how you do it. And if I helped you with anything on this, that's awesome. You can help me out by subscribing to me. I appreciate it, and thank you.